guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. First off, apologies if I'm like red around the eyes or a little bit sneezy or something in today's video because my allergies are going insane right now. I live in New England and just around this time every year, around May, June, I just get hit so hard. It only lasts for like a month, thankfully. But man, my sinuses are out of control right now. Anyway, enough sinus talk to open up today's video. This is the riveting stuff that you guys subscribe for on the channel, right? We did a video a couple weeks ago talking about some legendaries that I 6-starred that I later on went on to regret in this game. What I want to do today is talk about some epic failures, no pun intended, in terms of epic champions that I regret 6-starring. I regret putting my resources into ascending and 6-starring these champions that really I never use and I never did use. I won't include some epic champions that at one point I did use a lot but no longer use, such as Rearguard Sergeant. When I unlocked Tyrell, I didn't need to use her anymore in Clan Boss, and that's really the only area that I used her. Same goes with Seeker, for example, who I used in the arena before I got Lysandra in Arbiter on my account. Nothing against Seeker, just don't use him anymore. Maybe, I don't even think I use him in Undead Faction anymore. In the faction crypts, that is. And then other champions, Occult Brawler is the same way. I don't use him at all on my account anymore, but I did as my main poisoner before I got, Nethril or other options for Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, as his defense is a little bit on the lower side compared to some other champions. So we're gonna talk about champions that I 6-starred, really excited, and then I'm like, they're not that good, huh? And I want to go ahead and lead things off by talking about a theme of, and we're gonna start with Relic Keeper here. A theme of champions, right? A theme of champions that I am not a big fan of in this game. I'm not saying they all suck. Again, qualifying here, sometimes you might get one of these champions on this list. You might love one of the champions on this list. Doesn't mean they suck. Just means I'm not a big fan and or they weren't able to improve my baseline on any of my teams. I'll talk about why. Relic Keeper is one of these champions. I don't like selfish champions, okay? That's like the #1 rule. I've learned that about myself. I don't like champions that don't have good AoE abilities, single target hitters, who don't put out a lot of damage. I have no patience for that. I have Cold Heart. I don't need another single target champion who doesn't really add much in terms of utility onto my team, like Relic Keeper. Now, Relic Keeper I do use in faction crypts, so I guess there is that, but that's because Sacred Order is a pretty weak faction, at least the champions that I have in Sacred Order. But the reason I say selfish is because, cool, he grants an extra turn if the target is killed on his A1. Surging Strength places an increased attack buff on this champion for 4 turns, and then grants an extra turn. Okay, very selfish there. He's only placing an ability on himself, not any of the allies, nothing like that. It's all about him. I don't like champions like that, man. It's, again, when hit by an enemy, place a 15% continuous heal buff on himself for 2 turns. He's not helping out any of the other champions on my team. He's not landing any debuffs. He's not doing any AoEs. If a champion is not able to check off one of those three check boxes for me, they better be bringing the thunder on really heavy damage or something else, some other intangible. And champions like Relic Keeper, he has no artifacts on him right now, but I did spend the time to at one point have him fully equipped in solid artifacts. I upgraded all his skills, as you guys can see here. All of these champions I'll talk about today, I did all their masteries, so you can't say I didn't give them a fair shake, give them a chance to shine on any of my teams. But Relic Keeper, I just don't like the fact that he's all centered around himself, puts a buff on himself, so I don't use him, and that goes for any champion. If I were you guys, I would advise, before you invest in a champion who only self-buffs, who only, no matter how cool one of their skills might look, kind of like Relic Keeper, I would at least take a pause and ask myself, okay, why am I doing this? And I'll say, the reason I'm saying all this, the reason I'm going on and on, the next champion is going to be Lordly Legionary, is because I think this is a common mistake, right? I think that people will just pull a new epic, pull a new legendary, but especially epics, and be like, it's epic, I have to 6-star it, I have to upgrade it. And the reason I say that, I'm sure not all of you guys do that, right? But I'm sure a lot of you guys, a surprising number of you guys do, right? I'm just gonna do it, I'm just gonna upgrade, I'm just gonna 6-star because they're epic, because of their rarity. Be very careful, especially if they're a selfish champion, okay? So Lordly Legionary, well, I partially maxed him out just to make a video on him because he was a player login reward, but he sucks, man. Like, he's a pretty sucky champion, in my opinion. What do you guys think? Again, if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments. Tell me what I am missing on one of these champions. Now, Lordly Legionary can be used for Fire Knight, but for Fire Knight 20, he's the wrong affinity, man. If he was a Force Affinity or Spirit Affinity, it's cool, it's much better. But the fact that he's Magic Affinity, I don't know, Plarium screwed up on that, in my opinion, right? Because he should be a Fire Knight champion. That's one of the big reasons I think he's kind of sucky champion. Attacks one enemy 2 times, has the heal reduction, again, made for Fire Knight. On the A2, attacks one enemy, 75% chance of placing a decreased speed debuff, and then decrease the target's turn meter. Again, made for Fire Knight, you know, although it being one hitter. On a 3-turn cooldown, though, and then has to reflect damage and continuous heal on all allies for his A3. Again, you know, the reflect damage isn't as good a skill, a buff as one might think. It is decent in Fire Knight for helping take that shield down, but that's about it. And again, he has the wrong affinity for Fire Knight as you move into the mid and the late game, where you're actually, you know, trying to farm Fire Knight's 20. So Lordly Legionary, yeah, sure, he can hit decently hard. And again, I maxed him fully out, all his skills. I put God tier gear on him, and I just was not impressed. I don't use Lordly Legionary or Relic Keeper right now. You can see that as evidence, you know, missing 4 gear slots each. It looks like 5 gear slots on Lordly Legionary. I put him in all like decked out Savage gear as well, and it just didn't work out for me with these champions. So those are my first 2 regrets. Let's keep going down here and look at my next. Let's go up instead. Gala Longbraids, man, I was so excited for Gala Longbraids. Her kit seemed insane to me, right? She's a selfish champion too, in that she's only putting shields on herself, she's doing more damage while under shield, and she's ignoring a bunch of enemy defense. Man, at face value, her kit, I was super excited about it, right? One enemy 2 times, ignores 30% of the target's defense, place a shield for 2 turns, the value of the shield is equal to damage inflicted. That's an awesome A1 attack, brutal bludgeon. And then on A2, attacks one enemy, ignores 50% of the target's defense again when attacking under shield, heals his champion. I mean, that's all good too, place a shield buff on this champion equal to any surplus heal as well. So I'm like, okay, this is really good. And then Sheer Swagger, it gets even better. Attacks one enemy 3 times, each hit ignores 25% of the target's defense, grants an extra turn if its champion has full HP after using this skill. I mean, all of these skills sound insane. You can start out with Sheer Swagger and then get into the Fearless Aggression, and I'll be honest with you guys, as I said out the gate, I think I would use Gala Longbraids if I didn't have any heavier hitters in terms of options for Arena. You know, maybe put her in immunity gear, and she could always go early, just even if you're going against a Hegemon or a Torment or something, a Warlord, she could always go first, and then she could always go right into her Fearless Aggression and hopefully take down 2 enemies. Problem is she doesn't, her multipliers, despite the ignoring defense, aren't as good as I was expecting. She's still not hitting nearly as hard as some other options, so for that reason, I just don't use her. And, you know, she does have the shield, so I'll give her that. You can't take that away from her. But her base defense is pretty much the lowest in the game. I don't know if there's many champions. I'm sure there are some common champions or something. But 661 defense, she is so squishy. Now here you can see I have her in shield gear and crit rate gear. I had her in, you know, I think I tried her in 3 cruel sets. I tried her in some Savage gear as well, and she just wasn't putting out, she was putting out good damage. You can see the champion guide that I did on her, I'll include it in the links below, but she just did not, she left a lot to be desired, honestly, guys. Honestly, a champion like Soulbound Bowyer was actually hitting harder, believe it or not, a rare champion at that. So I was disappointed with her base defense, what was it, 661, guys? Check it out. Granted, again, she does have the shield, but like, Outlaw Monk has a higher defense. An attack-based uncommon champion has a higher defense than she does. So yeah, she's very squishy, which makes her a liability when using her anywhere but Arena, where you can ensure she goes first. You know, so you have to really do a lot of work to keep her alive. Shield set, actually, you know, I talked kind of smack about it there, but it does do all right with her because she's going to have that shield automatically to do extra damage on her A1. So anyway, guys, Gala Longbraids is not a crappy champion, but for a void attack-based champion with a set that seems as good as hers, I was a little disappointed. I don't use her anymore in the game, and even with that low defense, even with the shields, I don't even use her in Dwarves faction keep. She just dies to waves. Unless you can keep the wave CC'd, she dies very, very quickly. So again, out of the 3 champions I mentioned so far, she's definitely the best. Let me be very clear on that, but I just don't use her. I use the champions like, you know, these are better, granted, but that's the point of this video, like Mountain King or like Krutraxa for heavy-hitting type champions rather than her. So let's go ahead and go on to my next regret, and this was an interesting one here, and it's Balla. Balla was one of the free Amazon Prime champions, and I was excited about her kit, and she still has, you know, like, I don't read too much into reviews, and this is a part of the reason why. Man, people review her very, very highly. Now, part of the reason is because she's so accessible in the game that a lot of people have her, but she's the definition, again, of a very selfish champion, going back to what I was saying at the top of the video. All her abilities are cool, but they only help her, and I'm not a big, I like selfless champions, you know? So, you know, she has the Fortified Core, where she is putting a shield on herself for 20% of her max HP, also places increased defense on herself, and fills her turn meter by 50%. You know, not a bad ability, but it's all about her. And then Crush the Wall removes all shield buffs on enemies. That's kind of cool, but it's very niche. It's very niche. And then attacks all enemies. Has a 50% chance of placing a decreased defense, but a debuff on all enemies. So Crush the Wall is a pretty cool ability if you're going against enemies that you know will have shield up. However, with that said, it doesn't, you know, her base attack is pretty high, but the multipliers on this are not insane, and it's far from a guarantee. At 50% chance on the decreased defense, it's not consistent enough on a 3-turn cooldown to be your main decreased defense champion on your team. So if you could count on her, if it was like an 80% chance or higher, or even 100% chance, then all of a sudden she goes from meh to wow, this is a really, really solid champion. That's just not the case here. And then Piercing Blade is 1 enemy 2 times, increases the damage if the target is under a shield buff. Her damage is based on defense. You can build her out to have a ton of defense and to be kind of a, I don't know, trying to be like an unkillable type champion, or takes a lot of effort to kill her. Decreases the damage received by this champion by 15% while under shield. So a lot of synergy between the shield and a very high base defense at 1409 for an epic champion. So again here, guys, there's some potential in Balla, but at the same time, I don't know, I'm just underwhelmed by her. She's not a consistent debuffer, and she's very selfish in her abilities other than, you know, the AoE attack. But that's Balla. I regret putting anything into her because, frankly, again, I just don't, I don't use her, and I never did. I never really used her anywhere. And then we're going to end here, and again, she's not a trash champion. She's just, in my opinion, very average, very mediocre. And then we're going to end with Whisper, another champion who people love in this game. Whisper is another Amazon Prime champion. And you know, now that we have a couple, what do we have? 1 daily reward champion, 1 free fusion champion, a couple Amazon Prime champions on this list. And you guys can see, that the reason I upgrade a lot of these champions was to highlight them for you guys who might be getting them for free. And B, it was a free champion who I thought I'd give a shot to, who their kit sounded pretty interesting. But it also goes to show that Plarium, more often than not, they release pretty underwhelming champions if there's a chance that people are going to be getting them for free, right? I mean, we saw it with Mossbeard in this latest fusion. He's not trash. I really don't think he's trash like most people do, but he's not great either. You know, he's not an S tier champion by any stretch. And then I'm just kind of looking down my list here of other champions too. Look at Killian the Lucky, right? He's another one who, again, not the worst legendary in the game, but far, far cry from the best. But anyway, Whisper is a champion too who has an interesting kit, but it's I don't know. For me, it's all about extra turn synergy and chance at, well, let's just go through her kit. Unyielding Fury, 1 enemy 2 times, grants an extra turn if the target is under both decreased defense and weaken debuff. So having this is on a 5-turn cooldown too, guys. So it's not like the Unyielding Fury is something that you can, you know, you can get a lot of procs on. I tried her in Relentless Gear, and it was kind of fun, you know, just take those extra turns. But still, I think you can do a lot better. She's a single target hitting on all her abilities. Attacks 1 enemy, attacks 1 enemy, attacks 1 enemy on all 3 of her abilities. And, you know, for me, no AoE, without huge multipliers, without putting out a ton of damage, I just think you can do better in a lot of different champions in this game, to be fair, than Whisper. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Increase attack buff on herself before attacking. If the target has higher max HP than this champion, will ignore defense if the target is under a weaken. So the Charge Assault is actually a really solid ability. It's my favorite in her kit here. But still, you know, the multipliers on this are not as insane as one might think. On the Charge Assault, and again on the A1, attacks one enemy, has a chance of placing that weaken. So there's a chance of placing the weaken on the A1. You need another champion on your team to place that decreased defense. That way you're getting the extra turn out of the A3 here. So again. Oh, and then the Unrelenting here has a 10% chance of granting an extra turn whenever this champion lands a critical hit, and then increases damage inflicted on bosses by 20%. So again, when you get her to a boss, you're like, okay, now we're going to be laying some serious damage, and it's just not the case. It's just, you know, I'd much rather have like a Cold Heart, or, you know, and granted, I'm saying Cold Heart is an S-tier type champion with that turn meter manipulation and that huge damage dealer on the A3, and then, you know, the AoE attacks and the multi-hitter on the A1 and the A2, but it's hard for me to justify building out and recommending you guys build out in 6-star Whisper when you could just run maybe 2 Cold Hearts, you know? And again, I hate to, you know, compare everybody to Cold Heart. That's really not that fair, even if they are an epic champion. I think there's a lot of people who could use Whisper on the same team as Cold Hearts. Me personally, I do not. So those are my epic champions who I built out and I never really used, aside from testing them out, right? What about you guys? Let me know epic champions that you regret in the comments below, and let me know which one of these 5 champions that I outlined today am I just wrong on? Am I just flat out sleeping on, and I need to try out again? You guys were right in the Legendary video. I have to give you guys credit. A few of you, you know, recommended, I mentioned a bunch of champions, and Ghostborn I was just flat out wrong on. You know, I don't use him in the arena for a variety of different reasons that I won't get into in this video, but you guys were right. Ghostborn is really solid. I do use him in Spiders. I don't even know why I included him on the list. And also Foley, I shouldn't have mentioned him. He was like an honorable mention champion that I don't use in Legendary, but you guys were right on Foley too. I mean, he is platinum tier arena meta, and you know, all champions killed by him cannot be revived either. So he is definitely meta. I just don't use him. I use Trunda in immunity gear as my main nuker, but you could definitely use Foley as well, even alongside Trunda. But anyway, guys, let me know who I'm wrong about in this video. I'm going to stop rambling and leave you to your amazing weekend or your week if you guys are watching later on. Thank you so much for the support here on the channel. We are really close to 20,000 subscribers, and it's really all thanks to you guys. I appreciate the positivity and really just am humbled by the momentum that this channel has. I just started it because I love Raid Shadow Legends, and that's really the only reason, not expecting it to grow at all. I feel like I've grown as a content creator a lot throughout my journey in Raid Shadow Legends. I didn't really know what I was doing at all in the beginning, you know, 6 months ago when I started this channel, and through watching a lot of other YouTubers, reading Reddit on a daily basis, and just playing the game more, I feel, you know, not to like toot my own horn, I still have a long ways to go, but I feel so much more knowledgeable and competent to give advice on this game to you guys now based on where I was 3 months ago or 4 months ago. As a matter of fact, I'll watch some of my old content and be like, ooh, I messed up there. So I hope I can continue learning, and that's just a journey that every content creator has to go through. So I would actually, if you guys love this game, I would recommend, you know, starting a YouTube channel, considering it on Raid Shadow Legends. It's not that hard to do. All you need is just like a screen mirror, you know, an OBS, and just download a PC. Just download the game. I have it on PC now. I started on mobile, but it's so easy to record this on PC and just, you know, get a webcam. Don't get a webcam, who cares? And just kind of show off your account and just try to make some fun content. I would advise you guys do it too. There's enough players playing this game that it actually does make sense. You can cultivate that viewer base. Anyway, I am super rambly here. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.